So the topic of crossplay has been really in the news over the past few weeks, especially after, of course, Nintendo and Microsoft put that joint advertisement out for Minecraft and really pushed home the idea of crossplay, and that they were the ones, really pushing it along and trying to bring gamers together, right? And that's kind of where we are now. It seems that Sony does not want to have anything to do with crossplay. In fact, they're still locking down accounts in Fortnite, which is not actually part of the crossplay discussion. That's its own thing that obviously shouldn't be happening. But the idea of crossplay is technically good for gamers. I really don't see any reason why any gamer wouldn't want the option of crossplay. I say option because I think it's a good idea to be able to turn it off if you don't want to play with people from other systems or even the PC, right? But the option of crossplay is good because it, of course, keeps the player base large, since you can pull the player base from all systems. It makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty clear that a lot of game developers, publishers, companies in general who make these games want crossplay because of that fact. Your player base will be larger because you can bring them all together, so it keeps a game from dying on any one system while maybe another system is doing well. Like, let's say the Xbox community is really into a certain shooter and the PlayStation community isn't, but there are a couple people who play on the PlayStation, then you can bring people in, the PC community. It seriously just makes it much larger. We all understand this, and it seems that the latest company that is not happy with Sony and specifically says that Sony is not doing business with crossplay is Bethesda. In fact, Todd Howard, in an interview, actually talked about this fact with Fallout 76. We would love to do that, but right now, that's not possible. Sony isn't being as helpful as we want them to be. And that was Todd Howard in an interview with a German gaming site, GameStar, after being asked, hey, what about crossplay in Fallout 76? It's an online game. Wouldn't it be easier, I guess, if everybody could play together? And he seems to agree with that fact, but he's saying that Sony, they're not really playing ball. They're not being helpful with the idea. Sony just doesn't want any part of crossplay, and that's kind of understandable in their position where they are way far out ahead. We keep talking about it, right? But even at Nintendo's latest meeting of the shareholders, they had a certain person who could talk about crossplay, and the others didn't really want to get too involved or talk about it too much. Maybe because it wasn't their department. They didn't really get into as much of the conversations about relationships. But even the head of Nintendo's in Japan weren't super like, oh yeah, crossplay. I have a feeling Nintendo of America is the one really into crossplay, by the way. I think that's what's happening here. But anyway, crossplay is good. Everybody seems to want it except for Sony, and that's kind of where we are now. You know it's bad if Bethesda themselves, or Todd Howard, is even like, yeah, Sony. Even he's just like, everyone knows, yeah, Sony's the one not being very helpful. By the way, that answer, not being very helpful, is very obviously a very corporate PR speak, basically saying Sony doesn't want crossplay. It seems like everyone else does, but we can't do it because Sony doesn't want to do it. And yeah, I mean, otherwise you just have Microsoft's Xbox and then obviously PC cross-playing, and then you have PlayStation 4 and PC cross-playing. It's weird. If you really sit down and look at it, it's like, well, why no Xbox? Because if you just open that up, then basically they're all just cross-playing together in one room. It's very fragmented then, obviously. But if you have a game, I guess it's on Switch, PC, and Xbox, then it's on all of them. But most of the time, you're not going to leave it off of Sony's platform because there's 80 million people out there, or at least 80 million consoles out there playing. Whether they're all, unique ones being played by different people, that's another story, since, of course, multiple households, systems break, etc. But that's just the way it is for now. We keep talking about it, and it seems like crossplay is not going away, guys. People will continue to ask about every online game that's on a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox, and I have a strong feeling every developer that decides to give any type of answer is probably going to say, well, we'd like to do it, but Sony, they don't want us to. And, well, at least for this generation, it's probably going to continue on that way after Sony's lackluster response, or at least answer to the question Eurogamer posted about that, asking, and they were just like, oh, we're going to look into it. I doubt it at this point. We'll see what happens next generation, but keep an eye out, guys. You're going to see more and more of this come up when it comes to crossplay, especially with Microsoft and Nintendo seemingly playing ball, at least for now, with crossplay. We'll see what happens if any one of them jumps way out ahead next generation and gets in the position as Sony. What do you guys think about Todd Howard even pointing out that Sony isn't playing ball? Obviously, Todd Howard will just say stuff on stage, whatever comes to his mind, and he has fun with it, but to have him really pointing out and saying, yeah, even though they're the biggest console manufacturer provider right now with the biggest install base that we're putting our games on, it's their fault. They're the ones who aren't letting us do crossplay. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Make sure you guys like this video if you enjoyed it, dislike it. If not, come on by tonight, guys, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have Spawncast live. We missed it last week because, of course, we had too many games, our convention. We had to pre-record it. It's going to be live this week, tonight. We're going to have some fun. I'll see you guys then.